Oh, let's start the video with a cough. Hello, everyone. It's Sharing Creations by Carrie. Welcome. Hope you're all doing well. I'm hanging on. I wanted to share with you what I've done this week. I didn't get a whole lot of time in my craft room because I've been extremely busy taking care of the house, my husband, the dogs. I am pooped. So I got to play in my craft room Monday because I had to take my dog to get his nails clipped, and he is a basket case when you touch his feet. And he gets super anxious. So we had to do a little bit of meds, 2 types of meds, because after trazodone, he still didn't want his feet touched. And so apparently we're going to have to do this every time because he doesn't like his feet being touched. So he was pretty much out of it for a good portion of the day. So I got to come play for a little while. So I played with some epoxy. In no means am I good at it. It's my first time trying it, and there's quite a bit of fails in here. I don't know if my epoxy was old, and that's why it didn't work as well as it should have. Excuse me. I'm running out of steam and I'm tired, so hopefully I don't babble. Yeah, I'm queen of babble. I pulled out my kit that I had got at Hobby Lobby, and the bottle of the neck of the hardener, because it's a 2-part mix, and the hardener, I went to go open the bottle to do a small amount, and the neck broke. So I had no choice but to use up all of the epoxy. So it was panic. It was, I believe, 20 to 30 minutes, maybe, if that is all I had to work with it. And so it was panic, me trying to come up with things I could pour my epoxy in, or my resin, whatever you call it. And some of it didn't come out so well. I'm a little confused by, I'm gonna guess that my molds were the problem. Because the jewelry pieces have a shine to them. But the things that I put in molds didn't have a shine to them. So I made this set, which could be just earrings and a necklace, or it could be just the earrings, because I threw some sequins mix in this, and you can barely see it because I also threw mica powder in it, and I put way too much mica powder. So, and it looks as if I didn't mix the epoxy well enough with the mica powder in it, because I read somewhere it's not supposed to have swirl in it. Well, I was running out of time. So I gotten the clear, I had done the clear with these sets. And then I started to add some ink sand. And I was panicking because I knew I didn't have a lot of time. I overfilled this one, so I learned that. But if I wasn't panicking, see, I even overfilled this one, which has a bow. I tried to use stickers, little mini stickers, nail stickers, and they didn't care too much for the epoxy. There is a crease in the middle too, right down the middle. I touched them too soon, so then I have a smudged fingerprint there. There's like a line dent here, and it's bowed on this side. So I think that was part of the overfilling process. These didn't come out too bad. I put some sequins in there. I had to pick out sequins that I wanted. Some hearts and a paw print. So those are going to be earrings. I haven't finished that part yet. These, I had some dried flowers, and so I thought I'd be cute and like they're full flowers. So I cut them in half. Cut one in teal and one in blue in half. Well, then I decided to be cute and throw some sequins in it. Well, you lost the dried flowers in there. Didn't care for the gold to begin with. Not a gold person. So I used to be, not anymore. But I think these came out super cute. I needed to fill these more, but I have another small bottle that doesn't have to be mixed that I can just add to it. Maybe next week. But they didn't come out too bad. Not a lot. I think there's one bubble in this one. Any bubbles in this one? I don't see any bubbles in that one. So I did pretty good as far as the clear, but the more I stirred for the color, I got bubbles. These are pretty. I really like these. I will definitely be wearing these. They don't feel like they need to be filled. I think I filled them just enough. But I was trying to fight to get the flowers down in it. Oddly, and I think it's the molds, which is why I'm like, these are all shiny. But all of the things that went in molds are not shiny. The backs are shiny, but the fronts are not. So I don't understand that. So my only guess is it's got to be the molds. Because I overfilled that one. It's domed. And I had to do some trimming to try to cut it back. But I mean, like even these butterflies, which were difficult, a thin mold that's not deep. And then I didn't use the drop thing to fill it because I was panicking, trying to hurry up before it all set. So ended up overfilling it, so that's got a dome to it. I don't even know what I'm going to do with these pieces. Excuse me. These pieces right here I'll probably use in craft projects, like the birds. I could easily put those on a card. They're a little domed, which is okay because I can just sand it because you won't see that. That one's not too bad. This one's definitely domed. This one's a little domed. Ooh, he's a fatty. And they got some butterflies. A little domed, but I'll just sand that. That one's pretty domed. But what I don't understand is that side shiny? No. So, not quite sure what the deal is. That one's a little domed. But these would be cute. Put a little gemstone in the middle of those. And put them on a card front with some paper leaves. And then embossed background on plain white paper with a sentiment. Super pretty. Just like I could do the same thing with these. Is I could put some paper leaves. I actually have these Mod Podge molds, and there's some leaves, so I could actually fill. I have green alcohol ink, so I could make some leaves for them and put them on a card make that be the focal with the sentiment being the focal. And that would be a really beautiful card. This was really went in panic mode because it was starting to harden on me. So it was getting super thick. I think that I had some residue from hot glue gun. I've used this mold to do hot glue gun. Fill it with hot glue gun and then paint it. Some of it's shiny, some of it's not, so that's what's making me think that there's still hot glue gun. Which could be the reason why all of these are dull. But they don't have residue on all of them. So I don't understand. These small pieces, there's no residue on these. So I don't know. There's definitely residue on the bunny butts and the roses, which I've had hot glue gun in those molds. Which really frustrates me because I would have cleaned it out better and cleaned the molds so that there was no residue on them. I don't know if you're supposed to coat the molds with anything, but this was my adventure, my very first try at using epoxy. And so I have some nice pieces, but I have a lot to learn, made a lot of mistakes, and that's what happens when you panic. You make mistakes. And the kit came with these 3 red, blue, and green alcohol inks. It's called Color Flow was the set. And I did these 2 colors to make teal. I made these 2 colors to make purple. And did these 2 light to get the other shades. These are my first alcohol inks too. So I plan on playing with the alcohol inks too. Because I'm gonna use some stamps and stamp with the alcohol ink. So we're gonna have some fun with that. That's the next project down the line because that popped in my head when I was playing. So then I got around to making a couple of cards, and I don't even want to talk about that one yet. I don't even know which direction the music notes are supposed to go, but I suspect that it's this way, which is, I think I glued this down and then I pulled it up, and I thought I turned it around the right way, and I guess I put it back down the same way. That's how well focused I was. And so it looks like I've not noticed that in the stamp before, because I've stamped this before. So don't know, but there's a random P there now. But what I did was try to do a couple of techniques. And I took strips of paper and glued them down to a topper and then stamped it with a background stamp, and then took a frame and cut out the center to do the dimensional raise. I don't even know what this technique's called. But I put foam on the back of this piece and then realized I hadn't mounted it. So it kind of blended in a little bit too much. And then I'm like, great. So I couldn't get the mounted tape, the foam tape off without destroying this piece. And I didn't want to destroy it. So it's multi-layered with dimensional. So you get some dimensional foam tape behind the first piece and behind the light blue card framed around. I like it. It's got some depth to it. I don't know if you would send this in the mail with that much foam tape. So maybe don't make the same mistake as I did and forget to mount your top piece. But then I mounted this piece on with a little octagon foam tape. Because let's go for dimensional. I like it in the end. I really want to do these stripes with the background stamp on it again. I think I have another, at least another background stamp that has words. So I want to try that again because I think this is pretty cool. I mean, stripes, you think that's the paper. I had thin stripped paper. I don't even know what happened to it. I looked and looked and looked, couldn't find it. I have a feeling that when I was starting the process of cleaning my craft room, I may have thrown those out, which is really annoying because it was good paper. Oh, I forgot to check one box. I'll have to check that. If I find that paper, I'm going to do it again, and it'll be thin strips. So I just grabbed a few coordinating pages and sliced it on my gator and put it down. I was afraid that this blue was going to be too dark and the black wouldn't show up, but it does. And I like it. So this card I did tonight. I had watched Gina K and I saw some techniques that she did, but I didn't have the same tools that she had. So I was trying something that would be what I could use to get close to what she had done. It didn't happen. I still think it's a pretty card. I had blended some inks, getting the two corners darker and this middle section lighter. I forgot to add the anti-static powder to this, how it worked. I mean, it's messy, but I don't understand how it worked because I was like, afterwards, I was like, oh, I forgot the anti-static powder because I haven't touched my embossing powders in a bit. These both have the anti-static powder on them. And I dried these pages. I think this one I forgot to dry completely. I thought it was dry, but it wasn't. And oddly enough, you can still see some of the design. This one, I made sure I dried the paper and used my anti-static powder, and it covered it. Can anybody explain to me how that happened and why it makes no sense? Because this should have been the no powder, this one. And this one was, I coated it with powder. This one I could see because I don't think I dried the paper really well and I inked it pretty good. I don't understand. How did this work better with no powder and these two having powder? So my only guess left is that my papers were still wet, even though I thought that they were dry. But this doesn't make any sense why it didn't do it to this one without the powder. So I don't understand that, but it ended up being a pretty card in the end. So, and I just added wishing you heaps of happiness. I have no designation for this one. I just thought that I would have a card in my stash that didn't have a specific sentiment on it. So those are my cards. Turned out pretty neat. And then my final project was I made a dangle charm for my glue bottle. I wanted to make one because I kept losing my needle. The thing that stinks about these, and I don't understand why, but they do not come with a cap for these pin ones. I don't understand that. It literally makes no sense that when you're done, you'd literally have to take this off, put the other cap on, and then put the top on. Or put the flat cap on. Makes no sense to me. So manufacturers, you want to think about putting in a good pin in there. Make a pin for it, stainless steel pin with a top that would help. But then I had a chain that's basically a necklace extender that came in the kit for the epoxy resin charms. I just took some jump rings and beads and pins that have a loop at the end. So I could actually even hang something off of those if I wanted to. I hung charms with hearts, the dog bone, the dragonfly, the butterfly, the dog paw, a heart, and some pretty stones. And so now I won't lose my needle because I kept losing my needle. I put it at my glass craft mat has the little rubber corners, so I usually stick it right there, but a lot of times I'm knocking that rubber off. So I've already lost a couple of pins. So I went searching on how to make dangles. So all I did was attach it with lobster clasp. And if you hit YouTube, I think it's like the third video, third video. I can't remember if I've subscribed to her or not, but I got the idea from her. And I'm really annoyed that I didn't write her name down. I'm tired. But this was one of the techniques that she uses. And apparently she does a lot of beading with jewelry and such. And dangles. But I'm not sure if somebody came up with it, but she shows multiple ways to make dangles for your bottles. Even for the little ones. But one way was to put a earring backing on your pen. And then you can hang your dangle off of it. I thought, how cool. I have one of those pins that have the flat bottoms. Like right here. It's got the little flat base to it. Those they're like straight pins. But there's some that have the loop on them. Well, they don't fit in this one. So I couldn't use that one. So I had to go to the earring backing. So, fun. Now, I pull it off. And all I gotta do is pick it up. And I also there's some glue underneath the pin head so that it would stick to the earring backing so it wouldn't slide up and down the pin and then I lose the pin anyway. So that's, and I saw these, I think they had them listed for sale through like suggestion box because I typed in glue bottle dangle and it came up with a bunch of listings from eBay. Oh my goodness, or Etsy. The cheapest one I found was $8.50. I'm like, wow. People are selling these for $8.50. Mine's not perfect. I wouldn't sell it to somebody because it's not perfect. There's flaws in my assembly of I gotta practice curling wire better. Like this one's a little bent up and the circle's not very good. But you could make these yourself instead of spending, I think there was one of them I think I saw that was like either $15 or $18 the average was $8.50, $10.50, $12.50, $15.50. I was like, yeah, I don't think so. And there's some glass beads here. There's like this bead right here is a glass bead. I can't remember if that's glass or not. I think the turquoise one is. That's a glass bead. The blue, dark blue, those are glass beads. So I think that's where the cost is the beads. And I got a couple of strands in Joann's on clearance. And I had them in my stash because I was dipping into trying to make some more jewelry, which I hadn't done in a long time, so I was gonna do that again. So now I have my dangle. I even have a paper rose charm on there. And some colored jump rings. So there's that. Thanks for watching. I'd appreciate it. If you could add my family to your prayers if you pray. If you don't, I appreciate positive thoughts. Things have been tough and they're not improving. So we're stuck in a very scary place right now. I'm the only one working. He's still not able to go to work. And he's not the one to call in. So I know this has been difficult for him. It's been difficult for me because I'm literally doing everything. Dog's house, shopping, paying bills,